Many people are talking about inflation these days, but few people understand what it really means or how it can impact people's lives. In today's video, we're going to be talking about inflation and how you can protect yourself and your assets from it. Let's get into it. Inflation is the tendency of prices to rise as a result of increased supply and demand in the marketplace. It's critical to understand how inflation influences your life since it may make purchases more expensive. Buying something for $100 today may cost $101 next year if inflation rises by 1%. For example, inflation has occurred when a box of gum that was $5 last month now costs $5.50. In the long term, this can affect stocks or bonds that don't keep up with inflation rates, which can have short-term effects on investment return. Inflation is the rate at which the price of goods and services rises. Inflation does not imply an increase in money or liquidity. Rather, it reflects the currency's accelerated depreciation through hyperinflation. When a central bank creates more cash, the amount of accessible money goes up. On the other hand, this term does not refer to actual paper bills or coin. These percentage changes can accumulate quickly and severely erode one's financial position over time, especially for a consumer who must buy food on a daily basis. To protect yourself from inflation, there are some general strategies that you can implement. First, invest in assets that protect against inflation, such as gold or real estate. Gold is a good investment because it holds its value over time and isn't affected by inflation rates. Real estate is another good investment because it usually increases in value as inflation rises, although it's quite a controversial subject. There are also other ways to protect yourself from inflation, such as buying goods and services that are considered inflation hedges, like food and energy. Keep cash on hand so you can buy things when prices start to increase. Looking for opportunities in the market that offer protection against inflation. These are just some general ways to protect yourself from inflation. Talk to an expert to find out what will work best for your specific needs. During the current economic crisis, currency can prove to be an effective option for storing savings. In this case, it's advisable to opt for the euro, Swiss franc, Chinese yuan, and pound sterling. To those wishing to leave their savings in dollars, should constantly monitor U.S. policy and the state of the world's economy, since they can be rather unpredictable. Bank deposits. Keeping your money in a savings account is the most popular approach to storing money. However, is it the most beneficial? Before, all you have to do is examine banks' proposals briefly and select the highest rates of interest. Now that banks are closing left and right, reliability is the most important factor when selecting a bank. I don't want to waste my time and fray my nerves by running around trying to withdraw my hard-earned cash from a closing bank. Yes, they claim that deposits at DIA are protected. It appears that the clients do not lose anything as a result of the transactions. However, this may not be the case. Let's omit all the bureaucracy regarding the release of money from captivity. The law clearly states that the client's money is protected. Let's assume you made a deposit for a year. At the end of the term, interest on the deposit is calculated. You are guaranteed a return of only the body of your deposit if there's a force majeure, license revocation during the duration of your deposit. Interest has not yet been accrued. DIA will not refund this portion of the money to you. You'll have to go and get it yourself. Depositing your money in reliable domestic banks can be the best way to save your savings. Keeping funds in bank cells is more reliable than at home and much more profitable. This allows citizens who have even small savings to keep them safe and receive income from interest. It's important to mention inflation in this case. It's assumed that the price growth in 2021 will be more than 6.5%. This means that the above deposits will keep the savings from depreciation. When choosing whether to accept a profitable and reliable deposit offer, it's important to focus on the following criteria: possibility of full or partial withdrawals of funds ahead of schedule, the availability of branches of the selected bank in your region of residence, bank cards as an alternative to deposit. Another great way to protect yourself against inflation is by using bank cards as an alternative to deposit. The best feature is that you don't have to leave the money for a long time, as any amount of time incurs interest. You have the option of removing them at any moment. Most significantly, examine the method of calculating interest when selecting a card. We require daily updates on the current balance on our card. If you open a deposit, you would need to leave some money for daily living expenses. And here, the means of subsistence brings some income. You might be surprised, but many cards charge interest the same as bank deposit. But given that the entire amount is working, not just the deferred amount, you can earn even more on interest. Using bank cards is a good alternative to making deposits because you don't have to freeze funds for a long time. Charge monthly because there's no minimum amount for interest accrual. This is a good option to protect against inflation. Exchange speculations on Forex. How can you protect your money from inflation and where should you put it? It's thought but that during a crisis, stock market gambling may produce excellent earnings. Because exchange rates and security quotes will be extremely volatile, this is quite correct. However, for novices, engaging in such gambling might be too hazardous. Investing in PAM accounts is the only trustworthy option. However, many experts remain unconvinced. Gold and silver have been long considered safe investments, and their values have recently fluctuated. Some experts predict a rise in the price per ounce of yellow metal from $1,050 to $1,138 in 2021. Price is now set at $1,184. As a result, precious metals investments may be considered quite reliable. It's worth noting that palladium, despite external factors, maintains its market position. Where is the best place to invest in money? The economic crisis that has engulfed the Russian economy has made investments in certain traditional assets risky. It's better to refuse most of them because not only will they not bring income, but they can also lead to a loss of invested funds. Real estate. The situation in the real estate market is rather contradictory. On the one hand, it's still unknown how the new property tax will affect it. On the other hand, many experts predict that the cost of apartments and houses may fall by up to 50%. You should be especially careful when dealing with expensive real estate. In the recession of 2008 to 2009, the economic collapse greatly affected the real estate market. Shares and corporate bonds. Investing in shares and corporate bonds can help to protect yourself against inflation. In a stable economy, investing in securities is considered a hazardous activity. It's tough to predict which firms will survive a catastrophe ahead of time. Furthermore, an investment portfolio constructed of shares necessitates action. It's necessary to keep up with the latest news, monitor market conditions, and move money promptly when there's trouble on the stock exchange. Mutual funds. Most mutual funds find it difficult to properly arrange their assets due to the uncertainty of every sort of investment asset. As a consequence, the majority lose more money than they make. Many specialists predict that mutual funds will endure the same turmoil in 2021 that they encountered in 2008 to 2009. Business investment. Opening your own business may appear to be the most challenging alternative in times of crisis. The formation of new firms has already been hampered, and the economic situation can go completely out of control, especially during a catastrophe. According to experts, it's better not to think about opening a new business until things have calmed down and current enterprises have had a chance to pour money into selling items and offering critical services. Investors' expectations about the economy shape their own rules of conduct. However, you may invest your savings in a reliable asset, even in an unstable environment, according to some experts. Investment in antiques is said to be an example, as they're extremely resistant to market swing. Nevertheless, wherever funds are directed, one should think about their safety, since the probability of losing savings is higher than the possibility of receiving passive income. We all know there are numerous options for investing, but while saving effectively is critical, it isn't always enough. Because we must keep up with inflation, our investments must grow at least 3% each year to preserve their value. It's vital that you develop a plan that works for your financial position and future goals. What do you think is the best way to protect yourself against inflation? Tell us what you think in the comments below. Please hit the like button to let us know if you enjoyed the video, and don't forget to subscribe to Value Add Guy and hit the bell icon so you're notified whenever we post new content. Thanks for watching. Take care.